Today on the podcast, we're talking about the good and the bad that comes from AI. Like I try to mention, at least when I'm talking to people in my network, AI is a tool and it really depends on how you use it. And there are two specific examples of how AI can be used that I have seen recently about how AI can be used for good and then how AI can be used for bad. The first one, which is very unfortunate. So a company that I know and actually have worked with a little bit on the AI side recently got hacked for a little over 200,000, I think. Maybe it was 100, but either way, I mean, it's a big chunk of change. And what they did was, so they called one of the owners and literally said, "We're the fraud department from this bank. We need to move or we need to stop some payments," or something like that. And he actually didn't give them any information at all. He just said, here's our CFO's phone number. Call him instead. And what was crazy, and this is because I talked to him about this, which is how I know. But what was crazy is he said they called the CFO and literally on the phone with that CFO was like, "Oh, hey, we're going to move this money out of your account," and then move the money out of the account. And so I don't know if the CFO gave him information on how to get in or whatever. I didn't ask him that, but the fact that and I think they used AI in some way to be able to get into the account and then just move the money. It was crazy. And I mean, that's a lot of money. And for all business, I mean, that's a huge hit, especially because he had said that they were having a pretty good year. Like they were making a little bit more profit than normal. And then now lots of that just got wiped away because AI helped someone commit some fraud. So that was
Please
unfortunate.
tell me they had cyber insurance.
Okay. You know what's crazy about this? I'm hoping that they had cyber insurance, but they have previously gotten hacked before. And so I asked someone else that I knew about, like, do they have cybersecurity insurance? And she was like, "I don't know. I'm not really sure if they do or not." And I was like, if you get hacked once, you got to get cybersecurity insurance. I mean, even if you don't get hacked once, with the advancements in AI, you might as well have at least some cybersecurity insurance.
Also, when you get a call from somebody and it sounds urgent, you hang up and you find the number online and you call it because, oh man,
100%. Yeah, it was crazy. So that was definitely an unfortunate use of AI and does show some of the evil that can come with AI because, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't have good intentions. However, on the flip side, there are also good ways to use AI. And another story recently that I was able to be a part of. So there is someone in my family who does translations for different books and stuff. And he was using Claude, but he was using it on the web. Secondly, he was using the free version or maybe the $20 a month version, which again aren't bad. However, he was doing like 150 pages. And so it would take, 5 to 10 hours just to get through all 150 pages because first of all, Claude would mess up. Sometimes he would have to redo stuff. Claude would just talk back to him sometimes. I think maybe part of that was the prompting, but either way, it took him so many iterations and he created this, honestly, I think it was like 2,500 words, a prompt that he would run each time and it would have to go through multiple different pieces. And it was still taking 5 to 10 hours. Then what we did was we set up, well, I guess the other piece of this is he would receive the pages to translate by email. He would download them. Then he would manually split them into 5 pages because it couldn't do more than that on the web for some reason. Then he would upload one set of 5 at a time, let it translate, check it, download it, upload the next set of 5. And like for 150 pages, that is quite a lot of downloads. What I did was I showed him how to use Claude Code, had Claude Code just connect to a folder that he could just download straight from his email. In the prompt, tell Claude Code to split it into sections of 5 so that would save him hours of work trying to split each set of 5 pages, and then just let Claude Code run. And you'll hit usage, but also I told him to pay for the $100 a month version, especially if he's doing multiple sets of 150 pages. And it has more than 10x'd the output. Like it would take him 5 to 10 hours, and now he can get 150 pages done in like 30 minutes to an hour, just
Wow.
because Claude Code is able to do it much faster. He doesn't have to do as much of the behind the scenes admin work, like the splitting of the pages and all that. It's crazy. And so I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going back to the $20 a month one. I'm sticking with 100 because it's been saving so much time." So I think what's really interesting about those two scenarios is that, I mean, the first one, the hacking, is probably more advanced AI. However, both of them are AI. Both of them have humans using AI, but they're completely different scenarios. And I think it's really interesting how, like, depending on how we choose to use AI can really determine whether it's used for positive or negative reasons. Yeah. What thoughts do you have, Josh?
Well, my first thought is people need to stop writing checks because I assume that that's how they got account information for the first story. That
That's
is the most likely scenario how they got account information. I mean, you don't usually go around writing your bank and routing number on little slips of paper and handing it to people, but for some reason, we think that's a great idea to do with checks, which just blows my mind.
yeah.
Um, yeah. That's so frustrating. Also, positive pay if you're going to write checks is kind of a must. Um, but yeah, that second story, that's interesting that the $20 a month was that problematic compared to Claude Code on the $100 plan. Is it just usage limits
I
that,
think that's a big one because I mean, the $20 a month compared to 100 is massive. And then obviously the 100 compared to 200, but I'm not sure if he's quite at to where he would spend $200 yet. But then even just, so I think there are some models maybe that you can't, well, I know there are some models, but I'm not sure if that really played into effect because I'm not sure which models he was using. But Fable 5, you can only use on $100. You can't use on 20.
mm,
Opus 5, I'm not sure. I think you may be able to use it on 20, but it wasn't out at that point. So I actually need to go talk to him and be like, yo, what models are you using? Because if you could use Opus 5, like the newest Opus model, that would use less credits and actually beat Fable 5 in a couple benchmarks. Not all of them, but a few. So that would be interesting.
so someone that has spent basically zero time looking at different models, um, is this like Intel processors where it's like the i5 Core 3 and you're like, I don't know what any of that means, and a higher number for whatever reason does not equate to a better processor? Um, what's the skinny on models, and is the newer one always the better one? Is that safe to assume?
I would say not necessarily. The newer one, so there are four like flagship types of models for Claude: Haiku, Sonnet, Opus, and now Fable 5. Well, Fable, I guess. Um, Haiku is like the cheapest, the absolute cheapest. So if you're going for cheap and you have small little tasks, I think that's where you use Haiku. Sonnet is much better at writing. Um, and then Opus and Fable are much better at coding. Sonnet is also cheaper. Opus is cheaper than Fable, but now Opus 5, I think, I'm not sure exactly which benchmarks. I would need to go back and look. I was reading the article a couple days ago. Um, but there are some coding benchmarks and just like processing thinking benchmarks where Opus beat Fable, and then a few where Fable's still on top. So in terms of like if you don't care about cost necessarily, like if you don't have projects that are going to hit your limit every single time, then maybe using one of those two models makes sense. But if you have I mean, if you care about cost a lot, then maybe going down to Sonnet or Haiku. But if quality is important, then I wouldn't necessarily use Haiku. I would use Opus.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Sometimes the benchmarks might be like, well, only a technical person really cares about that. But,
Yeah.
at least it's there.
I did have a task this week that it was payroll related again, like taking time cards, putting them into AI, and then having the AI format into an Excel sheet. And I tried it with Perplexity and it wasn't quite getting it. So I was like, okay, I really need to experiment with Claude. Like it was a simple enough, just the formatting was a little different. And Perplexity was like, man, I don't know what you're thinking, but you're just wrong. So I need to try Claude and maybe pay for it finally. Also, my other AI story for the week was we went on vacation a couple weeks ago, and we took sort of a family photo on vacation. And my wife's aunt, she was like, let me take this photo. I've got an AI. I'll just throw it in. It'll clean up some of the like shadow stuff. Well, apparently she prompted it. I don't know what, like it's probably an app of some kind, probably not a mainstream AI. And she put it into this AI and apparently prompted it to, like, we've got 24 pictures, and in one of the pictures, or in all of the pictures, at least one kid is not looking at the camera. So she was like, take all these photos, pick the best one of each person looking at the camera, and try to edit them together to make like one where everybody's looking at the camera. So she apparently didn't look at it and post this on Facebook. And my wife shows me this picture. She's like, for the record, I have 3 children. Why do we have 4 children?
What?
It just added in another kid randomly, and then like changed almost everyone's face, like at least to Uncanny Valley, but in some places, like that's not even that person's face.
That's crazy.
She just posted it. She didn't even pay any attention. And my grandmother-in-law saw the picture on Facebook. Apparently didn't look very closely. She's like, oh, it's such a beautiful photo. I was like, oh my gosh, is this what the future looks like?
She commented that?
Yeah, I'm like,
oh my God.
Are we at the point now that we're just making AI slop instead of real family photos and posting them and be like, there we go?
And nobody even cares. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's actually really
Where'd the 4th kid come from? It's wearing the same dresses as one of my daughters, but this is not my kid.
That's crazy. That is hilarious because I was literally on vacation last week, and we do this thing where we jump into the coldest water I've ever been in. But then we were taking a full family photo, and one of my brother's friends put it into AI and like gave himself, 6-pack and like veins going up his arms and stuff. And then it changed everyone else's to where it was like, that doesn't look like the person that it's supposed to look like. So what's crazy is like, that just shows we both went on vacation. We both took family photos, and AI was used to change it in some way. I mean, obviously he didn't post that one because he was just joking around, giving himself abs, but AI slop, man, it's a real thing for sure.
Yeah. And to be clear, I have used AI to edit a photo. Like we've got one of my wife's grandfather from 1940s, probably. He was a canine unit in the Army, and it's a picture of him and his dog, and it was landscape. and we wanted portrait for a spot on our wall. And below him's just gravel, and above him's just sky, just monochrome sky. And so we used AI to like, okay, take this gravel and expand it down, take the sky, expand it up, and then we could get a portrait photo of the right size. Like that's fine, but changing people's faces,
Yeah. Giving people 4 kids instead of 3 kids.
yeah,
Yeah, that's where, yeah. I mean, it just social media, and I don't even really get on social media, but from what I've seen and heard from people, it's just constant AI slop. Like, it's just sad because I think there's so many good ways to use AI, and instead of doing that, a lot of people are just trying to create funny videos that are dumb,
mm-hmm.
and that's not really productive. And I'm not saying we always need to be productive, but what I'm saying is don't do things that are just making our society like dumber.
Yeah,
Like let's try to find ways to use AI in a way that will push ourselves forward versus just like distracting ourselves with videos that are genuinely like stupid and cringy. Like it's just dumb.
right.
But
Have you
what
run into like AI published books on Kindle?
I haven't have well,
Th-
yeah, I haven't really seen any like that. But most of
There's
my
a couple,
from referrals from someone, so it's like
right?
okay,
Yeah,
well,
that's also mostly my experience. I mostly pick books based on somebody's reference to it, like somebody that I already appreciate their opinions. Um, but there's a couple. There's one I bought that was real cheap. It was kind of supposed to go over talking about the barbell method, like Nassim Taleb um, put a small portion of portfolio in high risk and the rest of it in like bonds or securities that are real safe. And it was, I don't know that it was made with AI, but I would not be surprised if the guy at least was assisted by AI. It was just a real, um, it was a real quick survey of investing, which wasn't really what I was going for. But the second one is a book that I found on Amazon that I was like, well, this could actually be interesting about the reinsurance business. And as I got to looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if this is a real person. Um, so I kind of did a brief like they have a LinkedIn, but the LinkedIn picture looks scarily like the pictures on Amazon and with a different background. And there's even a post that's like, yeah, I don't write with AI, blah, 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 blah. But then I got to thinking about it later and I was like, I don't know that I should care if someone who knows something about the reinsurance business or has put in an excellent prompt has made a book written by AI if it's good at what it does. Like if it's good at actually giving me factual information in a clear, concise way, then I probably shouldn't be upset with spending money on it.
yeah.
Because the point is, here I am thinking somebody might have just prompted AI to get this book, but I'm not going to AI to get that information. I'm looking on Amazon for a book.
Yeah.
Um, but just paying, $10 or whatever for a book that's written by AI feels weird.
Yeah,
So,
but the other side is like it could have taken them the whatever 1,000 hours of knowledge in order to know what prompt to put in or
mhm,
set of prompts to build that book. So I agree with you. I think if the information is accurate and helpful, then does it really matter if AI wrote it? But if the information is sloppy, like it hallucinates and
mhm,
when it comes to videos, just like not helpful, then
right.
that is where I'm like, yeah, it definitely matters. The only flip side I could see from that is there are a lot of people in the music industry and acting industries who are getting really angry about AI generated people doing those things and getting more views than them because they put in a lot of work. So that is where I could see, some pushback and some fair pushback. Like if an actor put in, 10,000 hours to get to where they are, and then someone created some AI actor and they're starring in movies and making more than that human. I could definitely see where they would get very mad about that. And I think that's sort of fair. So I don't know where the line is on some of that stuff, but I would tend to agree with you on like informational. If something is informational and accurate, then it's okay. AI can write it.
Right. It just feels weird. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, for sure.
I'm paying as much for this book as I would for a human who wrote it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you got anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. That's the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it on YouTube, we'd love a like and subscribe. If you enjoyed it on Spotify, a 5-star review would be super helpful. We'd love to hear from you on email, jc.unscripted@gmail.com, and we'll see you on the next podcast.